It's Al and Elondious. Got to be more careful.
We are back. 8121 Talk. Got a different type of guest on tonight. New guest. First time live on the mic. How are you, sir?
Chilling. Just chilling.
We got another guest in the room, but he's not on the mic, but I guess they can hear you a little bit. What's up, sir?
It's the Book of Eli.
It's the Book of Eli. You here now? You're in Colorado Springs?
Yes, sir.
And it's great to have you, sir.
Yes, sir. Great to be here.
Oh, man. It's been about 3 weeks. About close to 3 weeks since I last posted a podcast.
Right.
Shout out to DJ Dummy. He made this beat. I added the scratches.
Crazy swing to it.
And I'll let it rock out a little bit. But yeah, it's been like 3 weeks since I made a podcast, so I figured I would do one. This time I'm doing one without Elondious,
right.
Because I wanted to touch, that subject on why I haven't been doing a podcast. And I know that's something that you could possibly relate to also. I got caught in a rut to the point where it's like I'm at this time in my life where I need certain things to happen a certain way and I can't multitask like I could when I was like your age.
Right.
So I have to cut off all distractions and go for it now. Does that make sense?
Right.
I had to cut it all off. So conversations that are going nowhere.
Small talk.
Gotta go. Conversations or things that make me pull away from what I need to do. I'll give you an example. We use the PodTrack P8 for the podcast.
Right.
I've had this for well over a year now, man. But there's still so much more to learn. And some of the learning is situational. Like you just don't pick up a manual or sit in front of something and you go, oh, that's how you do this. Usually it comes with experience.
Yeah.
You keep doing it. And I guess I'm saying sometimes my focus ain't there. So if someone calls me and they like, yo, how you do this? Or I need you to do this. I'm not really built for that anymore.
Right. I mean, you could burn yourself out if you always try to be there for others.
You totally burn yourself out. Totally burn yourself out. You can't make everybody happy. And you can't lend your spirit, soul, energy to everything.
You lose yourself during the process.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta like manage that stuff and filter it, like, because the type person I am, and you know this, somebody might ask me a question like, yo, how do you make egg sandwiches? I'm just making that up. How do you make egg sandwiches? And then I'll go into that mode of thinking, how do I tell them how to make an egg sandwich? Because it's different per person. Like, right. I could tell you how to make it, but the instruction has to be catered to how you
process it.
And then when I tell him, Elijah, I have to tell him in a way that he can process it.
Right.
And I'm very meticulous with that. But the problem with that, it can turn into stress.
That's a process entirely.
Yeah, it can turn into stress. So, I put a post up about a week ago where I was talking about that. Like 8121 Talk has been here for over a week.
Right.
And, I'm going to get into it now since Elondious is not here because she don't like when I do this. I see everything. I see everyone that likes it. I hear every comment, especially since I got the webpage now, 8121talk.com.
Right.
Excuse me. Since I have that, I can see the interaction. Some people I'm surprised by, right? And the non-interaction. But you can talk to me on the phone all the time.
Yep.
But you can't listen to the podcast.
I mean, people pick and choose. They pick and choose, and they'll come back and say, "Oh, like I listened to this. It's been 5 hours, and this and that, and in this particular part."
That don't really fly, because if it wasn't clear on the last podcast. On this one, I'm on Apple. I'm on Spotify. I'm on Google. I'm on YouTube. I'm on Anchor. And if you miss all of those, you can get it on 8121talk.com. Many ways to see who's listening.
It's all about choice. I mean, I understand that people make the choice. They choose not to do that. They just choose not to. And I started to understand it. People choose not to listen to music. They choose not to listen to the podcast or whatnot.
Are you a creator? You're a creator, right?
Yeah, of course.
How do you feel when you feel your creations are being respected, snubbed, not respected, snubbed, or you feel like, you know what, let's do this? Because we've had this conversation before.
Right.
You hang with 2-3 other people.
Right.
And you're here in this mode and you're trying to create and come up with something so you can achieve your dreams or your goals.
Right.
But the 2 or 3 other people that's around you don't support your stuff.
Right.
How does that feel to you? Talk to me about that.
Well, in the beginning, like years ago, months ago, I used to take that personal, like, we're all like, if I made $1 million off a song, or like if I became this big time gamer or whatever, then people would be like, oh, this dude's been my friend for 10 years or 5 years. But then it's like, I started to think it through, and I started to listen to other artists and people that are successful. And they pretty much tell you that the people closest to you are not going to support you.
So why do you think that's so?
Because people are around you, they're used to you, they got access to you, which is also like, people got access to you, they forget the power that what they have access to. So once you take that away from them, that's when it's like, oh, I didn't know, because you're idolizing this person that's already famous or whatever, already got money, but you don't have access to those people.
But you definitely don't like that feeling.
I'm not gonna say I don't like it, but I'm starting to pay less attention towards it.
Right, you're starting to understand what it is, and you're saying, you know what, I can't be focused on that. I got to do what I got to do.
Yeah, because that eats you apart, especially when you're not a bad person or anything, but it's like when people start complaining and this and that, and you're trying to be there for them, it starts to hinder your progression.
Right, I get it. I'm at that phase right now where when we make podcasts, I don't necessarily watch the stats. I'm human, so every now and then I'll look on Anchor and look at those stats, average play time, where the listens are coming from. But I don't usually do that every day, because I don't want to undermine exactly what it is I'm doing by looking for that attention.
Right.
But it's like I said earlier, it's like some people, I'm like, man, you supposed to be right there, bro.
Yeah.
Like, but you've seen me, man. You've seen me watch streams of other people's.
Yep.
You've seen me look at people post their art and stuff like that, and I'll sit there and I'll look at it.
Get deep into it. Their content, their whatever they're doing, and I try to like dive into other people's world entirely.
That's dead.
Yeah,
that's dead.
You can yo, can I edit this picture for you? Yo, can we let's try to stream some stuff? I try to get people in their element.
That's dead. Was it yesterday or a day or two ago? There was some questions that came up about dimensions.
Right.
What you call Shabbat? Nanny. His auntie. You know, it made me think about when you were a little bit younger, we talked about dimensions, you know, and being able to travel through various dimensions.
12 dimensions.
It's 11.
It's 11?
Yeah, it's 11. I'm not going to get all into it.
That's a lot.
But at the end of the day, you have to create that pocket, that dimension.
Shout out to CERN, by the way.
What is CERN?
It's pretty much this company that's, I don't want to get it wrong, but they're pretty much doing stuff with particles inside the universe.
Particles inside the universe. So they're creating...
It's like people are saying, oh, they're opening portals to alternative universes and stuff right above, right. It's not true, because they understand what they're doing.
You know what? That could be what they're doing, you know, whatever. But, you know, if you notice as of lately, I always say, that's cool. Nothing changes.
At all.
You still got to survive. You still got to eat. You still got to fulfill your destiny and what's inside of you.
Inside your reality, right?
And until it's sitting at your front door, then that's when you worry about it.
It's a problem.
You know what I'm saying? But the dimensional talk, I try to execute that. If you remember, the first dimension is right where you're sitting across from me right now.
Right.
That's the first dimension. The next level is where you want to be.
Right.
Yeah, where you want to be.
That's pretty much like the fifth dimension, because you can think about the future and the past, where you was back then and where you want to go in the future. Like fifth dimensional beings.
When you talk about dimensions, there are different definitions and there's different aspects of it. But there's one dimension that we definitely can't control, and that's the one I'm talking about right now, which is here, right now, time, space. And we talked about time and space and it being, people think time, they think this mystical thing, and space is out beyond the stars. But the way I was told is time and space representing where you are and when you're there.
It's the instrument. Time is the instrument.
Yeah. So
Really
it's where you are and when you're there. Did I say that right? Yeah. Where
Yeah.
you are and when you're there. Of course, time being a construct that man created, you know, specifically related to this planet, right? So the second dimension, where do I want to be? So you think, for instance, you're sitting here in Colorado Springs and you could say, a minute ago you said you want something sweet.
Right.
If you were in Harlem, you going to Habib. I don't know if that's the right word to say, but you going to them dudes in the back.
Yeah.
So you sitting here right now, you can see yourself elevator, around the side, down 8th or up 8th.
Yeah.
And walking through that door, you can see that guy's face, blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
Right? You can see that. That's actually the third. The third dimension is the dimension is a route that you take to get there.
Right.
Right? You can map all this out in your head. You can see all that. But then the fourth dimension is where it gets sticky at. That's the dimension where the unknown.
Yeah, that's the interesting one.
Because you don't know that you're going to get on the elevator and it's going to get stuck. You can't foresee that.
Or in New York or Harlem, it's a sticky place.
You don't know if you're going to walk in front of the building and my man Pat is going to be, yo, and start talking to you.
That always used to happen, but yeah.
You don't know that. So the unseen. So our lives, I'm going to stop at 4.
Right.
But our lives are usually based on dealing with stuff like that. Because you can map it out in your head. You can say, I'm going to be the greatest. Tying this into this podcast and why I do it. You could say, I'm going to be the greatest, but then you also have to be able to deal with the unseen, the unknown, the people, the emotions, I don't like to use the word favors, but when people need your help, things like that, those are unseen. I didn't map that out when I bought the P8.
Right.
I didn't map that out when I bought the turntables.
Well, that's out of your comfort zone. You stepping out of your comfort zone entirely.
It's out of the zone, that the dimension that I want to be in.
Right.
Right. So it's like, yo, I didn't know that I was going to be on the phone for an hour and a half talking about that.
Yeah.
I didn't know draining energy. We talk about that also. That's a part of that fourth dimension also. You come to me, Dad was good. And I say, man, my dog died. My toe got to get amputated next week. You know what I'm saying? And I'm dropping all this stuff and your antenna's up. You start to pull it in. And the next thing you know, you didn't plan on doing this today, but now your spirits are down. Your serotonin and your dopamine are not flowing.
It's even worse. Like
I just took it from you. You know what I'm saying?
I have friends who they would randomly text me like, am I a bad person? Blah, blah, blah. And I know what the root of it is, but it's like, I don't mean to ignore you, but I know where the conversation's about to lead.
I can't do this right now.
Yeah.
That's what your mind is thinking, right? You're like, yo, I can't do this right now. What are you talking about?
It's like, it's not just that, but it's like, I already spoke to you about that, like energy, how energy can be contagious. It can be contagious.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So you have to be careful, like when you try to push this energy towards me and try to pull energy away from me, because I'm trying to keep my frequency high.
And to be fair, some people do it inadvertently. They're not trying to do it, but then that's where you, as the God, can we say God? Let's say God, as the God of your dimension, as the entity that rules your dimension, you have to say, nah, bro, I'm out of here. I can't deal with that. I got to save myself. Self-preservation is a mother.
Yeah.
You got to pull back and be like, yo,
And some people don't have control of their reality. It's just they get pulled this way, that way, this way. They always flowing with that.
Right. It can be horrible, but in the past few weeks, that's what I've been thinking. I've been thinking about, what do I talk about? Why am I talking about it? How often do I want to do it? And the next level, which is taking it to video, so people can see what I'm saying. I love saying that. See what I'm saying.
Right.
But can see what I'm saying. But you have to have, for instance, when you do a podcast, especially video, you have to be like on point.
Yeah, all around.
Yeah. You have to feel good about the moment that you're in, time and space. You have to feel good about it. And then you have to feel like wanting to talk. And you got to also stick to your, I don't really use subjects. This is all freestyle. But you have to stick to your overall thing, if that makes sense.
Script.
A script. It's a loose script, but you got to stick to it.
Protagonist of your story.
For instance, I was talking to my man I went to school with, Tony Blockton. What up, dude? Talking to him on the phone for a while. And he had a question about the podcast because he wants to help out, you know. And I was telling him that there's really no set script. It's just about being honest with who you are and understanding negativity, such as just getting on the mic and just talking about any little stupid thing. Does not work for me.
It's time consuming and it's energy contagious.
Right. So the problem with that is you won't hear what you hear in other places. You hear true, honest conversations. We're in a room right now. You're sitting across from me and Elijah's sitting next to me.
Right.
Usually, this is what happens. Right?
Without microphones, correct?
Yeah, this is what happens. I'm just recording.
Right.
Right? But I don't, fame, money. I take a little bit of money though. But fame is not the ultimate goal. The goal is to put something out there that's relatable, that's real, that's something meaning something tangible. It's there.
Right, substance.
It's there. And substance, right. It's there, right? So I don't want to be that guy, especially at 54 years old. I don't want to be that guy to be like, man, I'm laying here and what's the hospital here? St. Francis. No, I would never go there. Harlem Hospital. I'm in Harlem Hospital in the bed looking at some crazy TV that's mounted to the wall saying to myself, man, I could have did this.
I ain't even had no TV in my room when I was there, so it's a
Well, I'm just saying. So even a room without a TV, even more so, that makes your mind go crazy. And I'm sitting there going, man, I could have did this.
Right.
I ain't do nothing.
Yeah.
I know you know this 4-letter word. It's not a quiz, so it's no pressure. And we talk about this. What's that 4-letter word that usually stops people from doing what they got to do?
I got 3 of them. You got love, hate, and fear. Well, fear is the one you're looking for.
Yeah, fear. That fear is a beast.
Right.
Right. And fear can be sometimes so debilitating, right?
Right.
That you will see people make excuses rather than acknowledge the fear.
Point fingers, yeah.
Just make excuses, whatever it may be. And then it's like, okay, I'm at an age right now where I go, oh, this dude is stalling. I'm out of here.
Right.
This podcast is me not stalling.
Right.
It's not fear of how you may sound, fear how somebody might judge you when you are expressing an idea, fear of being critiqued. Gotta go.
The thing about that is, the funny thing is, what I'm trying to learn at 25 is all of those things you just named are inevitable entirely. Like, if you do nothing, you're gonna be judged and critiqued. If you do something, you're gonna be judged and critiqued.
It's inevitable to the point where everybody has an opinion. You know the saying that I used to hear back in the day, probably people still say it, opinions are like assholes. Everybody got one.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody got something to say. But then when it comes down to something tangible, it's like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
You know how many people I ran into that said, I do this, I do that. I'm a producer.
Mm-hmm.
I do this. Then when I say, oh, okay, I fall into the trap,
Mm-hmm.
I go around, they have nothing to produce with. And then you hear, oh, but my mans, and I know my mans. See, I ain't got no time
That's,
for that.
for me, that's disgusting. That's nasty.
It's very
Because
disgusting.
there's people out here that's hungry. They're hungry for their passion, and they will go to the extreme to earn and learn.
I have yet to be able to separate who's really hungry for what reason and who's not hungry and they just talking. I haven't really been able to separate that. So in my case, I kind of back away, which is why you in particular see what you see now. I'm usually in the house all the time and I'm usually working on something or whatever. I don't really have a social life because my antennas are up too high and I'll be picking up all that crazy stuff, man.
Oh yeah, that's exactly where I learned it from.
I can't deal with it, bro.
I mean, that's a game. Some people are better than me at it, and probably you. Like, some people are better at playing the games and just turning their antennas off and trying to get what they get from a situation.
It's dope that you say better because no one conquers it.
Yeah.
But you start to get more disciplined with it. You know, you start to see a pattern like, okay, I've encountered that before, so I'm gonna move on, right?
For sure.
You, Elijah. In relation to what we're talking about, when you see your friends, right, and they doing what they doing, as you get older, you'll be able to tell the difference between he has no good intentions behind what he's doing, and he does. That comes with age, right? But all this that we talking about for me is the podcast,
Right.
and why I haven't posted in like 2, almost 3 weeks. And where my energy's been going, really working to set up the podcast via video. I don't even know what you call that. Video podcast?
Just, yeah, you can just say video cast.
And the problem was, I don't know everything. Right? So you get the video switcher, you get the HDMI extractor so I can hear what I'm doing. Then there's two monitors, and this and that, and then sound, and then I don't know.
That's the perfectionist syndrome.
Well, before I even get to the perfectionist thing, I've never done it before.
Right.
So I don't know. And then there's cameras. I mean, you know what I went through as far as, okay, this camera doesn't have clean HDMI, or it has a 30-minute limit, so it's gonna shut off. How do I do that? Do I go and I try to get a new camera, and then I go in the other phase? I get no new camera. I'm gonna figure this out.
Right.
It can get tough.
Boundaries.
More so than just sitting there, listen to somebody talk about nothing related.
Right.
See how I caught myself there? Talk about nothing related to what I'm trying to do. And in some cases, I don't even think they care. So why should I?
I mean, they say like the most successful people in the world are selfish, very selfish. Well, they learned how to be selfish rather, not just full out selfish.
Yeah, I think so. I was telling my man Tony today that, you know the id, the super ego, and the ego, you know all about that. But in some cases, I think you need an ego to truly do what you're trying to do. You have to think, what I'm doing here is it.
For sure.
Like, you have to do that. You need a little bit of ego.
I mean, my thing is like relating to the podcast and everything else. When
Right.
the same people that don't support you or whatever, when I have these conversations about big stars, rappers, Kobe Bryant, for example, it's like I look deeply into their whole his whole story. And
Right.
Kobe talks about like, I mean, he's straight beef with his own teammates if they're not doing a certain thing. That's how bad, that's his ego, that's how bad he wants it.
Kobe's drive is unmatched. And you have to talk about Kobe on a whole nother realm of understanding. You don't usually meet people like that.
At all.
Where the key is perfection. At the end of the day, it's not about sneakers, not about clothes, it's not about what I'm driving.
Right.
It's the key is perfection. I mean, Kobe a whole nother level.
I mean, I look at that like Kobe, and like the fact that he woke up earlier so he can get more practice in.
Crazy.
I think about that with everything I do. Music, it could be podcasts, it could be anything else. If I'm doing this for a certain amount of time, in the next 5 to 10 years, I'm gonna be 10 times steps ahead of you while I was trying to get you to be a part of that system that I created.
Right, but just remember what I always say. You gotta balance.
Oh yeah, of course.
Right, because that type of stuff burn you out when you was little. You know, I would go to work, I would come home, do what we do, and then I would be up half the night.
Yeah.
With headphones on, making beats.
I never understood that at all.
It burned me, and this is no disrespect to anybody. Then, you know, we gonna get ready to get out of here, but I wasn't smart enough to say, how do I say this? I wasn't smart enough to say, this is my life. This is the world I want to create. You are hindering that world.
Yeah.
I gotta go.
Well, that's the world, like people taking advantage of nice people or people that's willing to help.
Right. I mean, we said that as vague as possible, but you understand what I'm talking about.
I'm generalizing it. Yeah, I understand what you're talking about.
I looked at things because of what I wasn't afforded when I was young. So at certain point, I put into my mind that I have to provide something that I didn't get.
Right.
So I was always fighting that. But I figured I'm Superman. I can do this.
Yeah.
I can sit up to 5, 6 o'clock in the morning and get up at 7:30, take you to school.
Yeah.
And keep running my days like that. And then Saturdays, what happens?
You'll be completely burned out.
What do we have to do on Saturdays?
Saturdays for martial arts?
That also.
Because I had to wake up.
That was at 9.
Yeah.
But usually you come from martial arts and
Jimbo's or Applebee's.
That's what we doing. But
12.
when we get to the house, what do we have to do for the house?
Yeah.
Danbury, Connecticut.
Yeah.
Walmart. What's that place? Right over the Tappan Zee Bridge, the mall, the Galleria.
Yeah.
And those trips would take an entire day. But I used to sit back and go, yo, it's gonna end in a minute. Unfortunately, the ending was when everybody else winded down.
Right.
In the middle of the night. Then I jump on.
Yep.
Totally burned out.
Burn yourself out, and that time accumulates over time.
Right. And at the same time, I got somebody calling me on the phone telling me, oh, I got this for you, or I need you. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Are you even asking, am I okay?
That's the first thing you should ask.
Yeah, going back. Oh, by the way, that's called reading the room.
Yeah.
Check the temperature when you walk in the room.
Right.
When you, not metaphorically,
Right.
check the temperature when you walk in the room. See what kind of vibe that person is on before you start throwing things out or saying how things are coming undone and complaining. It's like, yo, bro, what's good? Like,
And people just want a shoulder to, like, they can lean on.
yeah, but my shoulder's broke. It's broke.
I mean, it's been there for a while. You're allowed to say that.
Yeah. But again, all this is basically talking about where I've been in the past few weeks.
Right.
What I'm contemplating, what I'm thinking, what's going through my mind. I needed that time to really kind of dig back in and reroute stuff.
Recharge. Yeah.
Right. And it is what it is. I'm gonna end this with this. In this last week, what's the most ridiculous post that you've seen where you were like, what?
Most ridiculous posts.
Yep.
See, I see so much stuff on a daily basis. I can't even identify stuff. I mean, all right, I'll put it this way. I don't know, when people are artists and they post other artists, it's like, dude, you're setting yourself short. That's just ridiculous in general.
That's not support.
How much support do they need? They millionaires, they in tours, they doing this, they in movies. How much support?
Wait, so you're saying when you see someone that's trying to get to a certain level and they're constantly posting other people's stuff, that's what you're saying?
Constantly, yeah, especially if it's more than your stuff. That's even worse.
More than that person's own stuff.
Your own content, yes, correct.
Well, you could be a fan.
We all fans of somebody.
Right. So you're saying that post needs to get up out of here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, let's throw it away.
Gotta go in the garbage. Kobe.
Gotta go in the garbage. Okay, me. I always touch things and I kind of leave certain people alone, and but I gotta touch this, especially since it's kind of related to you also.
Right.
I went on and I saw a person post about family, and I went on and I saw a person post about same person.
Right.
Post about family members that are separated for bad or evil reasons. Man, listen, man. I don't even know why they give certain people access. Man, I done told you to be still at this table, man. I don't know why they give certain people access to a platform to even spew that nonsense.
That's the danger of social media right there.
You can be anybody you want to be on the internet, and you can even fix your life without effort.
That's the danger.
All you got to do is just write it.
That's the danger. Yep.
And I don't understand like when things like that go up, which is very disrespectful. I mean, to me.
Right.
And also to you. Because
Right.
you're related to them.
Right.
It's very disrespectful. And then the person next to them that should have a brain and say, bruh, like,
Right.
you understand what you do? They say nothing.
They condoning the energy.
Another post I saw, same person, made the well, he didn't make a comparison. Well, he did. Pretty much said that Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant are straight crybabies and they ruin the game and all this crazy stuff. Okay, Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving are probably some of the best players you have ever seen.
They're winners, period.
That's number one. We ain't in 1960. We ain't in 1974. I'm going to say this and put this on the record. These basketball players now getting that money. And they're not just shutting up and dribbling. They are in control of their destiny.
Right.
And if you don't want to watch the evolution and what's going on with the game, stop watching it.
Right.
That's number one. I was told that sometimes people can't get to the next level, the sacrifice of doing what they want to do, because it's really about them and not about the crafts.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all about them, right? It's not about. For instance, if I was being a basketball coach and I put 5 players on the court, I have to look at each player and notice strengths, weaknesses. This guy's a shooter. He's a hustler.
Right.
He's this. He needs the ball to do this, and I have to come up with a system, right, to have these 5 guys excel. Right? But here's where it gets tricky at. You have some people that, how do I explain it? You have some people that it's not about that. It's about my system and how I want it to go, because I feel it should be this way.
Your image.
And exactly. And I feel, come on, bro.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
It's all about image and facades.
Right. And I'm at that age right now, circling back, where I'm starting to see these things like, wow, I dealt with that.
Yeah.
I dealt with that. So anyway, the point that I'm making is they should vet people and stop letting them post anything on the internet. And people should call people to the task and get on the phone, tap them on the shoulder and say something like, are you high? Do you realize what you're saying right now? You understand what I mean?
I mean, like Kendrick say, some people are afraid to speak up because they're trying to keep a certain relationship.
Let's throw that junk in the garbage, man.
Some people just too afraid. Like they afraid to speak up or talk and say somebody like, yo, what you're doing is wrong.
I would like to say some people are afraid, and I'm gonna end it like this. It's not just they're afraid. Some people don't know any better. That's number one. Number two, some people, there's a statement. You lay down with 9, you bound to be the 10th.
For sure. I believe that.
What's the other one? Birds of a feather flock together. That's a classic one.
Right.
So sometimes you looking like, bruh, you don't see this? They can't see it because they the same way.
They're the same way or they accept it.
We are so out of here with that.
Right.
This was what, 30-minute episode or whatnot.
Right.
And Daral, aka Thanos, you got anything new coming?
So I got Anonymous talking about the internet talk. all the facades, all the smoke screens and all that stuff, talking about that exact topic.
Facades and smoke screens and things like that, and
yeah,
videos.
Of course, videos. I want to make a movie.
Where can they see you?
Everywhere, but YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, wherever.
Name?
Thanoz Universe, or come to the website www.thanosuniverse.com.
Dope website too.
Links is everywhere, so it's easy to find me.
Right.
Type in Thanoz on Google, you'll find me.
And of course, you can find 8121 Talk on Apple, Google, Spotify, Anchor, YouTube, and also you can go to the website 8121talk.com. And next to me is Elijah, and he's a TikToker, right? Where can we find your TikTok videos?
And a gamer too.
And a gamer. Elijah, that dude, 01 on TikTok. Elijah, that dude, 01 on TikTok. And he has 134 followers. He got more followers than me.
It's going up.
All right. We are out of here. Peace.